My workload went up from about, 70 to 80 hours a week to probably 120. So, yeah, I go to sleep, I wake up, I work, go to sleep, wake up, work, do that 7 days a week. I'll have to do that for a while. No choice.
And you do 16-hour days, and you work 7 hours a week, and you fly all over the place. And you go to these meetings constantly, and people constantly criticize you for everything. It's amazing to me. I mean, you're changing the world, and you're giving yourself. Why do you do this? So my wife says to me, why are you still working? Why are you still working? What are you doing here?
Well, I think what I'm working on has an important effect on the future. You know, in the case of Tesla, I think it's fair to say that Tesla has significantly accelerated the advent of sustainable energy. You know, before Tesla, no one was doing electric cars, and now, as a result of Tesla, I think almost every major car company in the world is building electric cars, and that's a pretty big deal. But there's still a long way to go to transition the world to a sustainable energy economy. So we still have a lot of work ahead of us at Tesla, but that's our goal there. And then for SpaceX, I think it's important for the future to be exciting and for humanity's existence to be ensured over the long term. I think we must become a multi-planet species and a spacefaring civilization. We're here like 4.5 billion years after Earth got started, 13.8 billion years into the age of the universe. And it's only now, recently, in the last 5,000 years, that we invented writing. I would say date the first civilization by when there was the first writing, which was in ancient Sumeria around 5,000 or 6,000 years ago. So we've basically just been here for a very brief instant.
A blink.
All of human civilization is a blink of an eye, if there was an eye, on an evolutionary time scale. So I think it's important we take the actions to ensure that the light of consciousness continues, and because we should really view consciousness as a small candle in a vast darkness, and it can easily go out.
I was working, doing research in Silicon Valley on a completely different subject and trying to start this company at the same time. And when it came time to decide, do I want to do graduate studies or do I want to start this company? And I decided to start the company. I had no money. So we found that an office was actually cheaper than an apartment in Silicon Valley. So we got this dinky little office that had a leaky roof. It was just the nastiest place you can imagine.
And you lived in it too?
And I lived in it too and showered at the YMCA. This lasted for about 3 or 4 months. And the reason we chose this office, in addition to it being really cheap, was that there was an internet service provider on the floor below. So we were able to get really cheap internet access by drilling a hole in the floor and connecting to their server directly.
Depending on how well you want to do, and particularly if you're starting a company, you need to work super hard. So what does super hard mean? Well, when my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. We're so hard up, we had just one computer, so the website was up during the day and I was coding at night. 7 days a week, all the time. So briefly, I had a girlfriend in that period, and in order to be with me, she had to sleep in the office. So work hard, like, every waking hour. That's the thing I would say, particularly if you're starting a company. And I mean, if you do simple math, say like, okay, if somebody else is working 50 hours and you're working 100, you'll get twice as much done in the course of a year as the other company.
At what point as you were raising him, did you think, there might be something different about this little boy?
From the age of 3.
Really?
He just reasoned with me so well, and I didn't know how he could figure out things. I mean, he was 3. Mm-hmm. And then I sent him to school early because and they said, you can't send him, as the youngest person in the class. And I said, he really needs other stimulation as well. And the nice thing is that he took what he could do and actually implemented it. Many genius kids, they stay in a basement because they can't actually, move ahead.
I don't think you'd necessarily want to be me. Or
What's
should.
the worst part
I
about
don't think
you?
people would like it that much.
Well, most people wouldn't, but they can't be you. That's like some superhero type shit. You wouldn't want to be Spider-Man. I'd rather just sleep tight in Gotham City. I hope he's out there doing his job.
It's very hard to turn it off.
Yeah. What's the hardest part?
It might sound great if it's
Means
turned
sleep.
on, but what if it doesn't turn off?
So when everybody leaves, it's just Elon sitting at home, brushing his teeth. Just a bunch of ideas bouncing around your head.
Yeah. All the time.
When did you realize that that's not the case with most people?
I think when I was, 5 or 6 or something, I thought I was insane
Why'd you think you were insane?
because it was clear that other people did not. Their mind wasn't exploding with ideas all the
So
time.
They weren't expressing it. They weren't talking about it all the time. And you realized by the time you were 5 or 6, like, oh, they're probably not even getting this thing that I'm getting.
No. It was just strange. It was like, I'm strange.
Where I grew up was extremely violent. I never started a fight, except with my brother, actually. One exception. I did beat my brother up. I don't know. That's how it goes. South Africa, when I was growing up, was just an inherently very violent place. I got punched in the face many times. I almost got beaten to death once. So, many times. And I think if you have not been punched in the face with a fist, you don't know no idea what it's like.
There are people who've been in the rocketry business for decades
Yeah.
who say about you that you don't know what you don't know.
Well, I suppose that's true of anyone. How can anyone know what they don't know? But
When critics say you can't do this, your answer to them is,
we've done it.
Now is the time to overrule this administration's pledge to mediocrity.
there are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight and the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here. And I think that would change their mind.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
Did you expect them to cheer you on?
So they're hoping they would.
What are you trying to prove to them?
What I'm trying to do is to make a significant difference in spaceflight and help make spaceflight accessible to almost anyone. And I would hope for as much support in that direction as we can receive.
I like to get things done. I like to be useful. That is one of the hardest things to do. Doing something useful for other people that I like doing. My goal is try to do useful things, try to maximize the probability the future is good, make the future exciting, something you look forward to. With Tesla, we're trying to make things that people love. How many things can you buy that you really love, that really give you joy? So rare, so rare. I wish there were more things. That's what we're trying to do. Just make things that somebody loves.
You've said that this has been the toughest year for you, the most sort of taxing year for you. Why?
Well, Tesla really faced a severe threat of death due to the Model 3 production ramp. Essentially, the company was bleeding money like crazy, and if we didn't solve these problems in a very short period of time, we would die. And it was extremely difficult to solve them.
How close to death did you come?
Within single-digit weeks.
22 hours a day, or how many
I
hours?
was working, so 7 days a week, sleeping in the factory. I worked in the paint shop, general assembly, body shop.
You ever worry about yourself imploding? It's just too much?
Absolutely. No one should put this many hours into work. This is not good. People should not work this hard. They should not do this. This is very painful.
Painful in what sense?
It hurts my brain and my heart. It hurts. This is not recommended for anyone. I just did it because if I didn't do it, then Tesla, good chance Tesla would die.
Work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in, 80 to 100-hour weeks every week. And
That's
then
a lot of work.
all those things improve the odds of success.
Right.
I mean, if other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that you will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve.
How did you get the expertise to be the chief technology officer of a rocket ship company?
I do have a physics background. That's helpful as a foundation. And then I read a lot of books and talked to a lot of smart people.
You're self-taught?
Yeah. Well, self-taught, yes, meaning I don't have an aerospace degree.
So how did you go about acquiring the knowledge?
Well, like I said, I read a lot of books, talked to a lot of people, and have a great team. If you're creating a company or if you're joining a company, the most important thing is to attract great people. So either join a group that's amazing, that you really respect, or if you're building a company, you've got to gather great people. I mean, all a company is a group of people that are gathered together to create a product or service. And so depending upon how talented and hardworking that group is, and the degree to which they're focused cohesively in a good direction, that will determine the success of the company. So do everything you can to gather great people if you're creating a company.
In the beginning, I wouldn't even let my friends invest because I don't want to lose their money. I thought it was like, I'd rather lose my own money. And then we almost did die at SpaceX, actually. So I budgeted for 3 flights. I mean, technically, I did have a plan where I had the money from PayPal. I had like about 180 million from PayPal. And I thought, I'll allocate half of that to SpaceX and Tesla and Solar City, and that should be fine. I'll have 90 million, like that's lots, But then what happened is things cost more and took longer than I thought. So I had a choice of either put the rest of the money in or the companies are going to die. So I ended up putting all the money in and borrowing money for rent from friends. SpaceX is alive by the skin of its teeth, so is Tesla. If things had just gone a little bit the other way, both companies would be dead. And I had, like, one of the most difficult choices I ever faced in life was in 2008. I think I had maybe $30 million left, or $30 or $40 million left in 2008. And I had 2 choices. I could put it all into one company, and then the other company would definitely die, or split it between the 2 companies. But if I split it between the 2 companies, then both might die. And when you put your blood, sweat, and tears into creating something, or building something, it's like a child. And so it's like, which one am I going to let one starve to death? I couldn't bring myself to do it, so I split the money between the 2. Fortunately, thank goodness, they both came through.
When you had that 3rd failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated. If that 4th launch hadn't worked, that would have been it. We would have not had the resources to mount a 5th.
You couldn't have gone out at that point?
Yes, death would have been, I think, inevitable because we did not have the resources to mount a 5th launch. I'm probably not the guy that most people would bet on.
Who wins?
It's like a little kid fighting a bunch of sumo wrestlers. Usually the sumo wrestlers win. We're a little scrappy company. Every now and again, a little scrappy company wins. And I think this will be one of those times.
Like, what are the set of things that can be done to make the future better? So I think that a future where we are a spacefaring civilization and out there among the stars, this is very exciting. This makes me look forward to the future. This makes me want that future. There need to be things that make you look forward to waking up in the morning. You wake up in the morning, you look forward to the day, forward to the future. In a future where we are a spacefaring civilization and out there among the stars, I think that's very exciting. That is a thing we want. Whereas if you knew we would not be a spacefaring civilization but forever confined to Earth, this would not be a good future. That would be very sad, I think. There are 2 futures, and one future is we're out there among the stars, and the things we read about and see in science fiction movies, the good ones, are true. We have these starships, and we're going to see what other planets are like. And we're a multi-planet species, and the scope and scale of consciousness has expanded across many civilizations and many planets and many star systems. This is a great future. This is a wonderful thing to me, and that's what we should strive for.